Joining us now is a former AIG general counsel, Ernest Patrikis. He is currently a partner at White Case. Ernie, glad to have you with us this morning. If Bob Benmosche does have to take a break, I mean, he says he released in the statement that he is aggressively fighting cancer. He doesn't plan to step out. He's committed to the company. But obviously that's a huge challenge for him. He may have to step down, at least temporarily. The company says, or we hear, it may, in fact, name an interim CEO. How deep is the bench at AIG?
Well, there are two benches. There's the bench at the holding company, and then there's the bench in the insurers. At the holding company, the newest addition in February, Peter Hancock, very strong. I've known Peter since he was at J.P. Morgan, very, very bright, sharp fellow, a good addition to the company at the senior level. Tom Russo, general counsel from Lehman, and another fellow, Jeff Hurd, human resources, who work with me. So I think the team at the holding company is strong. Then we go down to the insurers. Jay Wintrobe on life, an experienced executive. Nick Walsh, the foreign property and casualty. Chris Moore, domestic property and casualty. Another fellow, Bill Dooley. That team has been there for a long time.
So if Benmosche did have to take a break for a few months to look after his health, it's by your account, there's two deep benches, as you say.
I don't see a problem. It's a lot of seasoned folks.
By the same token, Benmosche has shown himself to be really a scrappy guy. I mean, you know, he told the government back in August he would quit if they didn't help him out a little bit in paying his team. I mean, we saw him go head-to-head with Harvey Gullub, and obviously Benmosche won that argument. So it seems like he's a fighter, which bodes well, I guess, for his personal situation. But can anyone replace that energy?
Oh, I think so. Plus, he's got the deal on the table set for next year in terms of paying off the government. The wheels are working away, and that will continue. So I don't worry about the short term in terms of going forward. If there's a problem over the longer term, I think the board's got a fair amount of time before it has to decide what to do.
Most people say that Wall Streeters knew that Bob Benmosche wasn't going to stay on at AIG forever. In other words, he was pulled out of retirement from MetLife, and the idea was he was going to right this ship and then go back to retirement. We've seen some nice video of his vacation home. We know last week AIG said it's going to raise close to $18 billion for that AIA unit. As you said, you know, the wheels are in motion. Do you think it is likely that that 2012 target is met for AIG paying back all of the taxpayer money, $182 billion?
You know, no one knows, but I'm really hopeful. I think they're doing the best they can to get it on track. Still a few more sales to go. Nancham in Taiwan, a large company still to be completed. But it's well on its way. We can see what the company is. It'll be a large insurance company in the United States, property and life.
Ernie,
less emphasis internationally.
Please hold that thought. We are going to continue our conversation now. As promised, Ernest Patrikis is sitting with me right here. He is a partner at Case and White. He is the former AIG. Sorry about that, White Case. So I don't want to annoy either of those people, but you are a former AIG and also a former counselor at AIG. We were talking about AIG's exit strategy, the fact that Benmosche said, or his goal anyway, we know, is by 2012 to pay back the U.S. government the $182 billion. You say that that is likely, but you also say, look, you know, he wasn't going to stay around forever. He had already said 2012 was when he began to see himself stepping out of the picture. So what does that mean? Who can take on AIG and really lead this company? Well,
if we look at the people at the team, there's people like Jay Wintrobe, who've been there for a long time. Jay was with Sun America, with Eli Broad, a very competent executive. Peter Hancock, very competent. There are folks there who could step up. And then the board has enough time, if it wants to look outside for candidates.
I assume it would be easier to lead AIG in 2012. You know, it almost is as if Benmosche has done all the hard work. I mean, he's bringing a lot of these units to sale. He's also restructuring, emphasizing some elements, de-emphasizing others. Financial services come to mind. So I'm assuming that in 2012, it's going to be an easier company to run.
It's a lot smaller. When I was there, I had the fortune for a year to work for Hank directly. And I took the year to learn the company. And very difficult for someone to come in like Benmosche, get his arms around it. It's a lot easier to deal with today. Domestic life, foreign life and property and casualty, domestic property and casualty. That's the direction of the company. It will be an insurer and a lot easier to manage.
So it will be easier to manage. Let's talk about financial services, because that has been de-emphasized here. So does that give us a clue as to who they would perhaps skip over in 2012 when looking to replace? In other words, they're not going to go to Wall Street.
I doubt if they go to Wall Street. And if they do, it's either someone there who's learned the company or someone who knows the insurance business, both sides of the insurance business.
So we've talked a little bit about the U.S. strength. What about the way that AIG is seen from overseas? Could we anticipate it? It seems highly unlikely the American International Building would go somewhere else, but is it possible they would look overseas?
I mean, it is possible. I'm looking at AIA that brought in Tucker, and AIG still holds a substantial portion of AIA. I was also glad to see Edmund come back as a director of AIA. Edmund ran AIA. I don't know how old he is, probably in his late 80s, but really an experienced executive, knows Asia, knows China. That's still a significant business in operation. So I feel good about that aspect of it. But for the rest, AIG is still in Japan, but abroad, AIG is a property and casualty company. Chartis now on the international side, a very, very solid, very, very well-run company. Martin Sullivan did run a great company outside the United States in property and casualty.
Okay, Ernie, we thank you so much for the time. Ernie Patrikis joining us there. He was general counsel at AIG. He is now a partner at White Case.